The woman despised her husband, a doctor, because he had no money and no capability. Less than 30 days after giving birth, she firmly demanded a divorce, stating that she had to pursue the kind of life her close friends were showing off on social media, and that he could not provide that for her. However, not long after the divorce, her ex-husband unexpectedly received a prestigious promotion. Seeing this, the shameless woman came crawling back, begging for remarriage, insisting that her child and ex-husband could not live without her. But since she was the one who had insisted on the divorce from the beginning, the ex-husband outright refused to consider her request for remarriage. He said she was the one who demanded the divorce. She was the one who was determined to leave, no matter what. The moment I mentioned divorce, you agreed immediately. Back then, did you ever consider saving our marriage? He angrily said, never. She didn't even care about her own child. So why should I try to save our marriage? Tell me, how could a woman, still in postpartum confinement, abandon her own child? Let me tell you, even in a city like Changsha, Hunan, how many women do you think would act like her? What would drive a woman to do such a thing? You should ask her, not me. One day, a woman entered the mediation office with a grievance-filled expression, as if she were the most wronged person in the world. In front of the mediators, she distorted the facts, trying to hide the truth. She claimed that, right after giving birth, while she was still in postpartum confinement, her ex-husband had stormed into her home with a group of large men and even smashed the door lock. When the mediators pressed her for a clear reason why her ex-husband would do such a thing, she failed to give a straight answer, constantly dodging the question with vague statements. She repeatedly insisted that all the faults lay with her ex-husband and that she had nothing to do with it. However, when the conversation shifted, she suddenly changed the topic and began talking about the divorce itself. She told the mediators that the original reason she had asked for a divorce was only meant to scare her husband, but she had never expected him to agree so quickly. Then she continued to insist that she didn't actually want to remarry. Why? But it was for the sake of her newborn child. The baby cannot live without a mother, she firmly declared. Finally, she even accused her ex-husband of planning the divorce from the very beginning, claiming that everything was his scheme. She said, his morals and character make me extremely suspicious. I feel like these past 2 years have been nothing but a scam. Every step, every action. He had planned it all in advance. What should I do now? What will happen to me next? He has already calculated every move I would make. Her words became increasingly bizarre, as if her ex-husband was not just a doctor, but also a fortune teller who could predict the future. She was convinced that all her current struggles were nothing but a trap set by her ex-husband, and that was why she was demanding remarriage. After listening to her entire story, the mediators wore expressions full of sympathy, assuring her that they would definitely help her get justice. So they picked up a camera and led the woman straight to the hospital where her ex-husband worked. The moment they met, the mediators angrily confronted the ex-husband. What exactly did you do to her? What mistake did you make that led her to ask for a divorce? The truth is, you two got divorced when your child was less than a month old, is that correct? Yes, when my child was less than a month old. The mediator continued, I know that the law also protects mothers during the breastfeeding period. That means you are not legally allowed to file for divorce on your own. You must have forced her into it. The ex-husband was shocked and questioned. She said I forced her to divorce? How? What did I do to force her? Did I ever say anything about divorce? The woman replied, yes, you did. You used all kinds of extreme behavior. Extreme behavior? What do you mean? First of all, just because I refused to eat the food your mother cooked, you made a huge scene. The mediator pressed further. So, in the end, who was the one who truly decided to end the marriage? The woman answered, yes, I was the one who requested the divorce. You're right. Then, who was granted custody of the child? The ex-husband replied, I am raising the child now because she didn't want the baby. According to China's marriage law, a husband is not allowed to file for divorce during his wife's pregnancy, within 1 year after childbirth, or within 6 months after a miscarriage. When faced with the mediator's interrogation, the ex-husband looked genuinely surprised. He explained, the one who truly didn't want to continue this marriage was not me, it was her. After that, the woman's father had verbally abused his entire family. Her brother-in-law, furious at the situation, smashed the door of their house, escalating the conflict between the two families. Despite this, the woman stood firm on her claims and told the mediator, "It was all a trap. My ex-husband planned everything carefully. They calculated everything to trick me into divorcing him and force me to give up custody of my child." With a pitiful expression, she added, "If my ex-husband apologizes to me, then I will be generous enough to forgive him." However, her unreasonable accusations had completely exhausted the ex-husband's patience. He turned to leave, but the mediators blocked his way. The mediator refused to give up, convinced that the woman must have suffered a great injustice to have chosen to divorce when the child was less than a month old. So the mediator continued questioning the ex-husband. What could possibly drive a woman to act like this? He replied, she was the one who insisted on getting a divorce, no matter what. The moment I mentioned divorce, you agreed immediately. Back then, did you ever consider saving the marriage? Never. She didn't even care about her own child, so why should I try to save our marriage? Tell me, how could a woman, still in postpartum confinement, abandon her own child? Let me tell you, even in a city like Changsha, Hunan, how many women do you think would act like her? What could possibly make a woman do this? You should ask her, not me. This relentless harassment from the mediator finally pushed the ex-husband over the edge. He shouted in frustration, "What right do you people have to interrogate me like this?" With that, he shoved the mediator's hand away, turned around and walked straight into the hospital without looking back. However, the mediators and the woman still refused to back down. That afternoon, they continued to wait near the hospital, determined to block the ex-husband again. The moment he appeared, they stopped him immediately. This time, the ex-husband seemed calmer. As he walked, he began to recount his past with the woman to the mediator. It turned out that the ex-husband came from a normal rural family, while the woman's family was much wealthier. Whenever his parents visited, the woman not only treated them coldly, but even refused to sit at the same table to eat with them. Even worse, she had an extreme need for control. She completely forbade her ex-husband from socializing with any of his friends, and even forced him to cut off all ties with his old friends. If he didn't comply, she would wait until he was asleep, secretly unlock his phone, and delete all his contacts, including his close family and friends. The mediator asked, "Did all of this happen before she got pregnant? Did you decide you wanted a divorce because you saw her bad personality and her lack of respect for your family?" The ex-husband looked into the mediator's determined gaze. He couldn't understand what kind of spell this woman had cast to make the mediator take her side so blindly. In the end, he could only sigh helplessly and say, "I have never stopped her from visiting our child. The child is at home. She can visit any time she wants. But you won't let her take the child away, right?" "That's right. Did the court grant her custody? If the court gave her custody, would she even be able to take care of the child properly? With her personality, do you really think she could be a good mother?" "So you mean you don't trust her? Is that it?" "Isn't that obvious?" the ex-husband replied. "She had just given birth, yet she was determined to abandon her child and insisted on divorcing me. She did everything possible to get divorced without taking the child. That's how heartless she is. But still, I have never stopped her from visiting our child." After saying this, he turned and walked away without looking back. The next day, the ex-husband took the initiative to seek out the mediator. With a calm tone, he first asked, "Do you understand what professional ethics mean?" He then pointed out, not only do mediators have no right to interfere in people's private lives, but they should also judge situations fairly. As a husband, I believe I fulfilled my responsibilities. At the very least, deep down, I feel that I did what I was supposed to do. The mediator asked, "But what disappointed you the most about her?" It was the way she treated my family. But what made me the most dissatisfied was that she abandoned our child. Our child was less than a month old, and she already left him behind. When the Civil Affairs Bureau refused to process the divorce papers, I told her, "Take care of the child for 2 more months. You're still on maternity leave, aren't you? Didn't you hire a lactation consultant and a postpartum care assistant?" But she only said one thing. I won't take care of the child anymore. Tell me, if she can't even take care of her own child, what use does she have? A woman who abandons her baby right after giving birth doesn't even understand basic responsibility. The mediator continued. So it was only after she said that you really got angry? Yes, that was the moment I said, enough. This marriage ends here. The ex-husband firmly told the mediator, before you truly understand the full truth, don't make biased judgments. In the end, the woman decided to take legal action against her ex-husband, fighting for child custody. She even hoped to receive child support payments through this lawsuit. However, anyone with a basic understanding of the law knows that when a child is only 1 month old, the father has no legal right to file for divorce. Chinese law states that during this time, only the mother has the right to file for divorce. Furthermore, as long as the mother expresses even the slightest willingness to take care of the child, custody almost always goes to her. But she didn't do that. So the outcome of this lawsuit was practically decided from the start. The woman had almost no chance of winning. In the end, she destroyed her own marriage, all because of her shallow dreams on social media. A mother who willingly abandoned her child before the baby was even a month old, just to chase after the luxurious lifestyle of her social circle. Does she still deserve to be called a mother? Being a woman means loving and caring for family. That is an instinct ingrained by nature. But she threw all of that away, chasing fantasies from the internet. And by the time she realized her mistake, it was already too late. Regret cannot erase the damage she caused. Now that her ex-husband is successful, she comes crawling back, begging for remarriage. But it's all too late. What about you? If you were in this situation, would you forgive and remarry her? Leave your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any upcoming content. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.